Good morning, everyone. Corey here from Ride Suspension. Here's another video for you guys to enjoy, ask questions, whatever you want to do with it. We're going to be talking about the basics of kind of when you get a new bike, what you should and shouldn't do. So when you get a new bike, whether it be brand new, new to you, whatever it may be, there's a few steps to take before just jumping in and, buying a cartridge kit and, going from there. Brand new bikes, I recommend to my customers, break in the bike first. We don't want to tune it suspension wise between or after until after 5 to 10 hours. Reason that is parts tend to break in together, wear together, and then we can really determine how your bike is feeling and go from there. So we're going to be taking this in kind of stages. So I'm going to talk about stage from initial setup, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, all the way to, let's just call it stage 4. So obviously, there's 100 videos out there saying that most bikes are set up for 165 to 180 pound rider. That is what they come from factory is, because that's what they assume. So if you're under that, it's of course going to feel very stiff, and you're over that, it's going to feel very soft. So initial setup, regardless of whatever bike it is get your sag set. Get your sag set for you, and that be able to determine for your tuners. We already know about spring rate and everything like that, but that be able to determine where we're going to be when it comes to spring rate and everything like that. With that, after sag is set, that's your initial setup on any bike. Getting sag relatively around the area you want to be at, where your bike is working as it is. Next step, we'll call it a stage 1 step, is first thing to do, springs. Springs. Whether you're 2 spring rates over the standard, 2 spring rates under, 1 spring rate, everything like that. Spring rate allows for your suspension and your bike to work properly. It allows for your valving to go through the full stroke. It allows you to use your full suspension to the fullest ability. I will always say, and I tell my customers the same thing, who, come to me and be like, I want to build my suspension. Most people, average riders, everything like that, they don't know what their suspension feels like when it's fully, like from stock to fully tuned. So being able to fully understand how your suspension feels helps the tuners in every aspect. So if stage 1 is springs, then you're able to feel the valving, you're able to feel how your suspension works, you're able to feel all of that. And of course, it's different from air forks because you can adjust the pressure and everything like that, and we'll get into that. But shock spring is linear or progressive. That should be set for you in the first place, since it's taking a lot of the beating and a lot of the weight. So stage 2 essentially is getting a baseline setup for you. So say you're running WP's Explorers and you have this style of mid valve for your compression side. These don't do a lot. They help with, they're very soft. They help with like the very slow stuff, but they don't do a lot. Once you start getting on the higher speed stuff, hair scrambles, just kind of the higher speed stuff, you'll hear everybody talk about how they feel washy and they're not absorbing everything. That's because there's not much to these. You have a port, you have a cone in here, and that's it. There's no leaf spring valving, nothing like that. It's not the same type of technology as a cone valve where you have different cones and different techniques and everything like that. So with that, I go with, especially on the Explorer forks, do your standard open cartridge conversions. They make the ORVS kits, they make standard WP hardware for them. That gets you a good baseline. From there, you can be like, all right, I'm riding this baseline, it feels really good, but it's suffering in these avenues. And then we can go to high performance upgrades that actually benefit you. A good revalve off of the kit will really help, especially tuners. They know, hey, this is where you're struggling. This is where your mid valve is. You're in the mid stroke and it's struggling. So we can tune it a lot better from there. Because I've been noticing I have a lot of suspensions coming through where people have brand new bikes, buy this brand new stuff, and they immediately jump to stuff like the gobblers, they jump to cartridge kits, they jump to best of the best, or they jump to the big one, which is cone valves. But they don't know how their bike is feeling or suspension is set up from where they're going. So from stock to fully tuned like cone valves, you don't know how your bike is supposed to react, because different rake angles, balance, different suspension set up for different bikes, you just don't know. So when it comes to that, is if you take this and you go in stages and you progress as your suspension progresses, and it's different from pro riders because they've been riding the same suspension, or they know the feeling. But for the normal average person, like most of us riders are, is being able to feel the difference in your progressive stages gives us tuners better ability to be able to tune for you and be able to be like, okay, we got this area dialed. Let's tune your suspension more to be dialed in these areas where you have a broader range. And I'm not saying don't do these performance upgrades. I'm saying do them in stages so you can feel the difference, so you can understand how your suspension is reacting, and you can understand how to help your tuner help tune for you. And really, there's so many options out there that it's almost overwhelming, where you as a consumer, and I've heard this a lot, as suspension's a mystical thing, it's black art, whatever, or black magic, and they don't understand how their suspension works. They just want the best of the best thrown in there and go from there, which some cases people can understand their suspension enough where that works, but in most cases it doesn't help us. I've had a few customers where they're like, I want the best of the best, and they want it tuned for pro level, but then they don't understand that pro level suspension is, for the average rider, is normally stiff, is stiffer for most, because they're hitting things faster, they're hitting square edge faster, they're hitting all of this stuff that we're not hitting as fast. Like they're hitting it in fourth, fifth gear, where we're hitting it in second and third, and the dynamic is different. There's a lot of tunability. The purpose of this video is to just kind of explain that if you do it in stages, you can understand your suspension more, and you can tune it and upgrade it as you progress to be faster. All of our goal is to be faster. Some of our goal is to, just ride and be comfortable. You don't need to spend $2,000, $3,000 for your suspension to be comfortable for you in your riding situation. There's benefits to adding performance parts, obviously, but there's also downfalls. If you don't know how your suspension is reacting with these performance parts, we can't tune it for you. And just the same thing with cone valves. We'll talk about the big ticket item that everybody talks about, the cone valve tracks. A-level, A-kit stuff, same with the Showa and KYBs, of how you're not going to understand how your suspension is reacting if you don't go through the stages, if that makes sense. And it's like everything. You're going to have a shop that be like, you know what, let's go ahead and drop $7,000 to get your suspension set up, and you get it and you're not happy with it. The reason you're not happy with it is because you don't know how, you don't understand the process, I should say, of feeling how your suspension changes work. And it's not straightforward, but it's straightforward if you do it in stages where you have the ability to change it, tune it, do everything you need to make it work for you. A perfectly set up suspension takes tuning, because every rider is different, all of that. So it takes tuning, takes the ability to understand, and talking with your tuner of understanding how your suspension works, how it's supposed to work, how it's supposed to feel, everything like that, where your input on the bike going to your tuner can help tune it. And you'll hear this a lot with, find a reputable tuner that you can create a relationship with, that he's the same mindset of, hey, this is what I want, this is what I'm riding, this is how it feels, and you guys can make adjustments. Because again, every rider's different, everybody's different, and from your average rider like me, you're not going to feel the difference from, say, just a standard open cartridge conversion to Luckies to anything like that. Your mindset's going to be, these are great, they feel better than they did before, that's it. But you're still going to be missing the mark of it fully tuned for you. So just a quick overview of, do your suspension in stages. It's kind of a pain in the ass taking suspension off, getting it tuned again, everything like that. I get that. But in the long run, if you do it in stages, you're going to be like, okay, this thing is fully set up for me. I am very comfortable, set up for my riding. I'm faster, all this stuff that in the end benefits you. And if you do it in stages, you may get to a stage where after springs and some certain valving that you don't need to go anymore. You're like, you know what, I feel great on this. This will be phenomenal for a long time. I don't need to buy pro parts, all this stuff, and could end up saving you money. Some people, we'll just talk about cartridge kits real quick. Some people love Luckies. Other people, they have problems with Luckies because they come from the factory, how they're set for, quote unquote, their riding, but it's still missing the mark in some areas. So if you were able to work with your tuner, you can get things tuned to you a little better, and most likely a lot cheaper than just throwing a cartridge kit, throwing it in and then not being happy with it. Because overall, you don't want to spend $3,000 on a suspension and it be not what you want. I know I don't. And it's just like buying anything. You don't want to spend a whole amount of money and then it being not what you want. So just some words of advice, just because I've had a lot of stuff come across that has been built from other shops and just missing the mark of being on the right suspension, right for what you do and everything like that. So if you guys have questions, I'm going to continue to make these videos, obviously. I want to be able to shed light in this mystical dark art and be able to answer questions when it comes to, this is what, you know, the steps and path should be. So let me know in the comments, comment, like, subscribe. Let me know in the comments of videos. What are you guys looking to have done? And again, My phone's always on me, Instagram, whatever. If you have questions, I'm happy to help. So So remember, Ride Beyond the Limits. This is Corey with Ride Suspension. And if you have comments, leave them down below. Thank you.